back section. All right, now, dude, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
You and I got to check out a very special independent movie.
Yeah, very special. Yeah, you sent me basically a porno.
I did not
Which
send
is
you
nice.
a porno.
I always appreciate you sending me mail.
I sent you the independent movie that we were sent to
the
review.
name itself was just like,
yeah, I heard that. Like, what?
I'm like straight sounding it out, making sure I'm saying it properly. I'm like, no, it's gotta be. I'm putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable on this one. This can't be what it says.
Well,
what's the name of this film, P, and how was it?
An independent film called Below Her Mouth.
Below Her Mouth.
Wow.
Below Her Mouth, yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's supposedly set up as a nice story of, a lesbian finding herself and
it's like
accepting these feelings that she's been taught to repress her whole life and leaving the life that she thought she was happy in and blah, 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 blah. What it comes down to is nobody in this sucker were good people. All right.
Right. It's like they meet and then there's something to her. She can't get it out of her head. And then she pushes this woman away. And like I said, she's thinking about it. She's thinking about it.
Yeah. It's
something brings them together. Then, obviously changes their life. And there's some steamy stuff in this.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm watching it on my laptop in bed and, fiance turns over and
starts
is
to
like,
rise. Like, whoa.
Yeah. Launches it through the headboard.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. First of all, it's a movie about two women, Dallas and Jasmine.
Yeah.
And it's basically
those aren't stripper names.
Yeah, right?
And one of them is like a roofer, right?
Yeah, Dallas is
one's a roofer,
right?
Yeah,
Dallas the roofer.
Dallas is your very stereotypical, mostly stereotypical butch lesbian. She has a job in construction. She's basically a sexual predator. She's very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
She's like catcalling women as they walk by, along with her coworkers there. And actually, she owns the company, so her employees are catcalling.
She can do whatever she wants. Then I own this piece.
But her coworkers are following her lead, catcalling. So it's not even like a bunch of it's not even like there's a bunch of gruff construction workers, whistling at women. It's like, nah, boss said it was okay. She's doing it herself.
Yeah, right.
Boss
That's the example you got to set.
Yeah, and we start out with Dallas, who's basically just like a cold. She's a sexual predator. She's picking up chicks, and then she's like real cold to them right after she gets done.
Yeah,
it's like every stereotype of like a Don Juan type dude you see. She's like the female variation of Mystery, the pickup artist from that reality show. And we follow Dallas. Dallas is the main character of this. I want to say protagonist, but that would mean that she's a good person we're supposed to like.
Yeah, that's something you identify with.
She's an anti-hero?
For lack of a better term, Dallas is a dick, is what she is.
Wow.
Wow. Plain and simple. And
Adam, you co-sign on that?
Yeah, definitely.
And as the movie progresses, we watch a couple of Dallas's exploits, and then we meet Jasmine. Jasmine is a kind of demure woman. She's not really a party girl. Her friend's a party girl. She's kind of the more
she's a little more reserved. Yeah, she's laid back.
Yeah, she's also happily engaged to a guy. I think his name was Ryle. His name was R something. It was like Ryle.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
His name was like Ryle. We'll call him R, I guess, before we mess up. His name was Ralph. Forget you. And who's, for all we know, in this movie, he's a nice guy. He loves and respects his fiance there. They live together. They have a nice relationship. The only, I guess, downside of him is he works a lot. So he occasionally has to leave on company trips. And
idle hands, man.
Well, not even. He's not out there, like, cheating on her and stuff. He's calling her every day, hey, baby, I love you. Thinking about you while I went to this
But this girl comes along, plants the seed right there.
Exactly.
And that's all it is.
Jasmine goes to a club with her friend. She gets picked up by another woman, and that's where everything goes wrong.
So she got turned out.
Absolutely. Not even like kinda, sorta. No, that's absolutely what happened.
Exactly.
She got picked up, chased, and then she played coy, and then she got down, and then in between them,
I wanna get down, but not the first night.
This sounds like the plot. And the way that's the actual plot synopsis, and the way this comes out, it sounds like kind of it's one of those very emotional Lifetime movies or such. A woman discovers her true self. Nah, this is a porno. Okay,
yeah, it's steamy, man. It's got some heavy stuff. I mean, and it's a little gratuitous too. And you're like, wow, left
and right. There's like full frontal male nudity, full frontal female nudity. There's like these really intense masturbation scenes.
Yeah, very intense. But it's like, and then you think you're like, wow, whoever's handling this movie is definitely got some prurient interest.
Yeah.
But it's a film made entirely by women. The entire crew, directed by everyone, was a female on this.
And one thing I really did notice, women are a lot more comfortable with their bodies and with bodies in general because...
So I felt that made me feel better watching it, though. You know what I mean? Once I learned that. Like, yeah, absolutely. Because I was like, this is going to be some cheesy guy just doing this and, like, exploiting these girls. And I was like, well, women are exploiting themselves.
Yeah, no, women do that all the time. You kidding?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but at a couple of points, I forgot I was watching a movie and thought I was just watching a short AVI on my laptop.
Right, like I thought I hit the wrong thing and the wrong pop-up.
So is this like, you're making it sound like this is like how this is like this is the way it's presented. It was presented in a way which like Caligula was presented as like historical documentary, like a historical documentary film.
More or less,
like, no, Caligula's porn. It's what it is. It's not some historical film.
Absolutely.
So is it presented just like that? That this is like a Lifetime movie? You're like, brother, no, that's not what this is.
I swear to God, there is no way that some of these sex scenes were filmed without someone actually dipping a thumb in. You know, there was face sitting, and the camera gets like right here.
Right.
Wow.
There was face sitting. The camera gets right here and stops just short of like labia.
It's like blue is the warmest color. You watch that movie? Like there's some heavy duty lesbian scenes in that, and you're just like, this wasn't handled quite like that.
Okay. Well,
I think that movie's like, hey,
I think okay, now this might be the film nerd me coming out. I think that may have been their out. That we're watching lesbian sex, so it's more artistic than just watching a man and a woman like You know what I'm saying? This is
but it's also
a woman appreciating another woman's body.
This woman giving herself over to this woman, you know what I mean, as well. So it's just like kind of her expressing herself that she didn't know she had these things. So in a way, it makes sense when it's so like, wow, like right in your face. So I get the aggressive part.
I didn't have a problem with this. I just feel it really needs to be like made known. Like this isn't nothing that bothered me, but it's
people stopped listening an hour ago and now are like,
right. Somebody is Googling this right now.
I would have just appreciated being prepared for. Because it kind of like hits you in the face.
Yeah, like what if you were like with your like family? You're like, let's go watch this movie, and you're like, oh, well, okay.
Because it's painted as a nice.
What's below her milk? Boobs. That's
this is a movie I could actually watch with. I'm not watching with my mom's, but I could watch with my sisters in the room. It's like no problem. It's an emotional movie with two women kiss.
What's the worst movie you ever watched with a family member?
Actually, we were watching Menace to Society, and that sex scene came on.
Oh yeah.
I was 7 years old. My mom was watching it, and then that scene came on. And then it didn't dawn on her that I was right there until it was done, and she was like, "Oh,
that's a heavy movie to watch anyway." Without
give me a glass of milk. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I come back and it's on like One Life to Live or some stuff.
Right. It's on like news, like it's on like Fox News just to get off the channel, right? It's like suddenly you switch over.
Yeah, that was mine. How about you?
The Specialist. My aunt watched. It was that. The Sylvester Stallone and Sharon Stone's shower sex scene was definitely one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever sat through.
I've got a really
and the thing is, like, you can't get up. You just have to just hope it ends, and it doesn't end. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. It was so bad. Yeah, that's definitely
worst to emphasize how uncomfortable you are.
I know.
In the shower too. I was like,
this year I watched. I was watching. Antichrist actually, which is
that's a
okay. This movie, right? So my parents come home about halfway through. My dad sits down, has a scotch or whatever, joins me to watch. He says, "Hey, it's Willem Dafoe." Cool.
What is she doing to his penis?
Yeah, suddenly, like you guys get it. Like then like it's like this is getting more crazier, and then she's jerking him off, and blood comes out of the penis, and he's like, I'm so sorry, and then we keep going because how much weirder can this get? And then the female genital mutilation scene, like very very vivid, comes on, and we were just screaming at the TV, me, my dad, and my mom, yelling, "Why Lars von Trier? Why would you do this to us?"
I saw that in theaters.
We were so angry. We were like, it was actually the only time I've been like, I love Naked Lunch. I love weird movies, but the only time I've ever been angry at a director, and I felt like he was being hostile to me by creating this movie.
That's actually what he's going for.
I was like, this will teach Lauren.
Yeah, I was like, why would you do this to me, sir? What did I ever do to you? That Willem Dafoe's penis is one thing, but the craziness of the rest of the movie was, it was very offensive, and I don't get offended by things very easily. But me and my parents, I put them through that, and I'm so sorry wherever you are, Mom and Dad. I'm so sorry. I did not mean.
Actually, you didn't. They walked into it. So
they did literally. They came
out like you said. Well, what is it?
Yeah.
Flubber or
no. I was watching it
Oh, Antichrist! I heard that's a good family rom.
Yeah, Alone at Home. They came home after like a night out to eat, and they came home and sat down and drank some wine and some scotch. Which I mean, it's a good thing they were drinking that actually.
Yeah, you could just tell them they made it all up.
Yeah. I was like, we just like we'll never speak of this again.
Remember that time you wouldn't give me the speaking spell? Take this.
Yeah, right.
All right, okay. So James, tell us about the time you watched Cannibal Holocaust with your son.
No. No, there's only two, and they're not nearly as bad as that. One was with me and my mom. We were watching. I think I walked in and she was watching the Martin Lawrence comedy special.
Oh,
and he was going. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was something really wicked raunchy.
Yeah, any of them.
And he was going. It was his first one. So his first was his classic one. And I forgot. He was talking about something about sex, blah blah blah. And like my mom was rolling hysterically. Then she looked over and saw me. And she screamed at me like it's my fault that I walked in the room. I'm like sitting like, I'll be here like 10 minutes. So of course my jaw hit the floor hearing him just say all this raunchy stuff. And she screamed at me like it's my fault. I'm like, come on, Mom, you saw me walk in.
Yeah.
Like, come on. The second one was so not nearly as bad. The second one is watching Game of Thrones with my kid. My kid was 6 months old. So during this whole time, when you're a parent, your kid's like, you're feeding your kid and not really paying attention. So he was sitting in a bassinet and I was rocking him. And I think it might have been later on the first season where breasts were popping out. And that's constantly throughout the entire series. And my kid's eyes opened up real wide. And I'm like, holy crap, he gets what's going on. Because up to this point, he was good.
Are you sure he wasn't just hungry?
Yeah, I was just going to say, 6 months, he could be like lunchtime.
Yeah, right?
Food.
I just finished feeding him. I just finished giving him the bottle. He was cool. Right. So he's sitting there. He's like, rocking and nodding. And next thing you know,
and that's how I knew he was my son.
Titties popping the screen. And he's just like, ooh. And his eyes open up big. And he looked at me, look at him. And I was like, damn, he knows what's happening.
Oh my god!
Can't watch Game of Thrones. That's why to this day I stopped like at the first episode of season 2
6
because
months.
his eyes popped open like, yeah, daddy. I'm like, no.
Oh
son.
man.
Well, just a heads up, they in like season 12 now. Still no dragons.
That's a lie. There are many dragons on that show.
There are tattoos.
Yeah.
You won. As soon as I was like, I was sitting on one. I was like, oh, mine's the worst situation, the best, but. As soon as you mentioned Antichrist, I'd seen the beginning of that, and I was like, "What? What are we watching?"
No, the end,
I left, and I came back, and my roommate and his girlfriend at the time were watching this, and I'm like, "You're still like? How could this be?" I missed the blood shooting out of Willem Dafoe. Oscar award-winning penis.
Yes.
I'm sure he won one. He deserves one if he shot blood out of it.
I believe, yeah.
That's game over. I would get one of those time turners and just wipe my mind from seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
But I know the scene that you're talking about with the later mutilation and then like breaking her leg. I'm like, why are we doing this movie?
Like what? Yeah.
My terrible movie situation was I was looking at colleges, and with my dad, we went to Stanford, and they had a screening night with like all of the students, and it was my friend's brother who was going to Stanford. He was like, "Oh yeah, why don't we go? This movie screening is Boogie Nights," and right. So we get in there, and we're like, "Oh, we hear it's kind of like, Salacious is about the adult
70s
film
porn,
industry, 70s porn, the heyday, good old working class porn." And we're like, but it's not going to be like watching simulated porn, right? And we get in there, and it's also when the Stanford tree, people are running to be it. It's like their mascot.
Yep.
So there's crazy stuff happening all over campus. We get in there, and we're like in the middle row. We're like packed in, and this place is just packed with people. And I'm like, this is maybe whatever. This is going to be a weird situation. And then out of the ceiling, some guy drops down on like a rope in a harness, completely naked.
What?
Comes down completely naked to make his pitch to be the Stanford tree.
Oh, come on.
In front of a packed house. And I'm just like,
was it an Electric Light Orchestra song playing?
He's just a naked dude. The best part was that he didn't come down quickly. It took, because he was screwing it up. And I'm just like, here's this naked dude. And I know my dad's just like, oh, Christ. And the only person that's more uncomfortable than me and my dad is my friend's brother, who is like, oh, well, I'll be the guy telling him what campus life is like. And he's just like, oh my God. He's like the most like buttoned down, straight-laced guy. Yeah. And this is how it starts. This guy gives a speech, and then he walks off. He's naked, and the movie starts. And then we watch Boogie Nights trapped in there with my father and my friend's brother. Who we're all mortified, but I'm like, this is a cool movie.
The movie's great.
I gotta see this movie again when I don't have these two next to me. But that was I felt like the worst movie to see a situation with your family until you said Antichrist, and I was like, oh no,
I don't know, man.
I was gonna be able to go. I was like, nothing I can say is.
I just imagine the dude did wheel himself down. The pulley's all like rusty and.
No, the best part was he gets out of his harness as he's giving his speech, and then tears out of there, and the harness and stuff is still in front of the screen. And the projectionist, best line of the night, projectionist said, if he really wanted to be the tree, I think he would have gotten rid of the rope harness. And the whole place is cracking up.
Oh my gosh. Needless to say, did you go to Stanford?
No, of course not. My dad's probably like, no.
Yeah, that was off the list.
He's like, I don't want you parachuting and shaking. But now I host burlesque, so I guess.
Okay, well, yeah, he would fit right in there. Then you should call up that Stanford tree guy.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey man, thanks for setting me on my career path.
Yeah, right.
Where did Johnny go?
I'm kind of afraid to ask because we're running low on time. But Johnny, do you have a story?
Sure. Real quick, it's either Species or Total Recall. I don't know.
Total Recall. I hope. Three boob girl. You gotta have it. You want to have some fun? I love that line.
Okay, man.
Like,
maybe you wish we had three hands.
Yeah, that short girl was, hey, don't sleep.
It was very confusing.
Yeah. I appreciate
and also disappointing later on.
Yes.
What? Only two? Oh, I'm deal breaker.
It was paper mache, so It's, okay, Herb, you want to get on this?
I can't think of one, man.
Thank God. All right. Okay. So below her mouth, what it comes down to is this was a beautifully shot movie, man. Like it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with the actual filmmaking. The dialogue is the only thing that kind of threw. I mean,
well, then they're also delivered. I think one of the main girls is a non-actor as well.
Yeah,
I think she's a model.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that models are dumb. I'm just saying they're not actors, and you're supposed to act right there.
I think she was Sweden too. She was playing a Swedish character, but I think she was English was not her first language.
So the whole project was a little difficult. You know what I mean? Except the physical part, she seemed to know her way around.
Also, it seemed to really push you towards. These are sympathetic characters. You're supposed to feel for them. You're supposed to be happy about their relationship at the end.
Yeah.
Like, no, we didn't like Dallas in the beginning. Jasmine starts off as maybe she's just a victim in this. No, she turns around real quick, and by the end, we're like, yeah, good for you. I kind of hate you right now. I hope you get hit by a bus.
Wow.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was, like you said, it was well shot. It was, it's something worth checking out, not just for the sexually aggressive material.
Yeah, I think it wasn't bad too. I liked the movie as a viewing, not something I'd recommend people go see over and over again. But I would recommend people see it once if you're just in the movie to see a movie like this.
What happened to the boyfriend though, the fiance?
He got left. He got dropped.
You already tell you the chick got turned out and she ain't going back.
She did, man. And the whole thing is they Dallas. You think, oh well, maybe this relationship she'll have a change of heart, or maybe she'll become a better person. Nah, no. They have some slight problems. The first thing she does, she goes to a strip club and fingers an ex-girlfriend.
Oh wow!
Like, all right.
May I finger her?
Yeah, it's completely just uncouth. She's like, I'm not going to get into details.
Yeah, we don't. We're already running long.
Yeah, the movie's called Below Her Mouth. It actually was at a few film festivals.
It was. I think it was Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where it came out first. So I mean, it's people have seen this. People are enjoying it. So if it sounds like your cup of tea, which it might, I would definitely recommend doing that. But
definitely look for it. Maybe your Pornhub subscription ran
for
out.
everybody.
It was no holds barred. It was no bars over holes.
No.
No bars over holes.
Nice.
All right,
what else we got?